No, it wasn't today. I'm sorry, it was yesterday. France beating Argentina 4-3. Russia beats Spain in overtime penalty kicks. Brazil and Mexico are going to be playing tomorrow. That's okay. So I'm going to give you my take on the World Cup because we have those. Let me explain. Let me give you the rest of the scores here. Uruguay wins against Portugal 2-1. Everybody wasn't expecting Portugal to lose against Uruguay. Uruguay and Brazil are now the only two teams that are left over from the South American countries. Croatia. I watched this game today. Croatia and Denmark. Excuse me. What an unbelievable game. Unbelievable. They had to play in overtime, and then obviously the game was also decided in penalty kicks where Croatia overcomes Denmark in penalty kicks as well, and Croatia moves on. Belgium and Japan play tomorrow as well. My prediction, excuse me, against Brazil and Mexico, Brazil is going to beat Mexico by 2-1. That's my situation. Belgium, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. Watch out for Japan. I think Japan is going to win 3-0. That is my prediction right there. A lot of people thinking Belgium. Belgium has got a strong team. They have a great goaltender. But let me tell you one thing right now. Japan, those Japanese players, they play fast and they play furious. So be careful with that. So that's my prediction. I think Brazil's going to win over Mexico 2-1, and I think Japan is going to have a shutout against Belgium. It's either going to be 2-0 or 3-0. So we'll see what happens with that too. So teams to watch out for: France, Russia, Uruguay. I'm not really worried about. Croatia. Croatia has been amazing in the World Cup. So a lot of people are saying, who do you think you're going to see? I think we're going to see France. I think you're going to see Croatia. Russia is still, they're the host country and stuff like that. A lot of people would like to see the host team, the host country, make it into the finals. Brazil, I think, is going to make it, and I really think Japan is going to make it. I'm glad Argentina's out. I am so glad that Portugal is out because these teams are. You see these teams over and over every 4 years. They always make it. They always do. They're the, I hate. You're probably going to kill me, but I compare them to the Patriots. You always see them in the playoffs. You always see them in the World Cup. You always see them in the Summer Olympics. I'd like to see someone else take it. Brazil is a great team. We know that. Brazil has that long history of soccer greatness. The Pelé. My dad played against Pelé. A lot of people don't know this, but my father played professional soccer. He played against Pelé. Bolivia never, as you guys know, I was born in Bolivia. Yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. However, Bolivia never made it. Okay, my father always said Brazil is always one of those tough teams to beat because they have good quality players and stuff. So that's another thing. But anyway, that's the recap of the World Cup. I'm dying to see what happens against Brazil, and I definitely want to see what happens against in the Japan-Belgium game as well. So, all right, so let's continue. Aaron, what you got going on, kid?
Oh, boy. I don't even know where to start. All right, so do we want to do ladies' room? Do we want to...
Why don't you do ladies' room and stuff? Hit us with that. And then we could probably end with Trigger the Driggers and ending a negative into the positive, and where we can actually do that little shameless plug of Motor Mania that's coming up on 4th of July. So hit us with your ladies' room.
All right. So obviously with us working in bars and, being out in the nightlife, 7 nights a week, we hear all kinds of stuff. And one of the things that was brought to my attention is males and females are sick of meeting people just at bars. Yeah, it's a great thing, but, they're like, well, what else can we do besides go to a bar? So I compiled a list of really cool places that you can look into and go on first dates. It also helps you connect and figure out if you actually like that person or not. And they're not necessarily first dates either. You could do this with a spouse. You could do this with, somebody that you've been with for 10 years. It's more of getting you to interact with each other. So the first one that I have is...
Strip bars.
No. BYO everything. So you're going to go on a potluck. One person brings drinks. Another one brings something to eat. And you decide on a fun location, whether it be a park, by the river, someplace, that has a nice view that, you guys can sit and talk and say, well, I brought this because this is, a family recipe, or I brought this alcohol because, it's
Can I interject for one quick second here? So you mentioned, you said something in which there are other places for other people. There are places out there other than bars where people can meet.
Or go on first date.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it's not a segment of where there are places that single people can go to other places.
Those
other
are
bars.
There's single dances. There's
I guess you're
there's trips for single people.
Okay.
That they can go on, but this is more of like dating idea. One of the things that was brought to my attention the other night was there were people on their first date, but they didn't want to be at the bar. But they felt like they didn't have any other options.
I understand that, but I guess the thing is I think you went off in a tangent a little bit. Let me explain what I'm trying to tell you. First of all, you're talking about first date ideas, and then you're talking about single people meeting other single people in, other than bars.
No. Because
so are we talking about first date ideas, or are we talking about single people meeting other single people other than in other places beside bars?
Were you paying attention?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I lost you then. 603-217-54007.
It was brought to my attention.
Yeah.
When we were working the other night.
Okay.
That people don't have places to go besides bars. So whether you're trying to meet somebody, and when I mean okay, you just connected on Tinder, but whatever. Okay. You guys want to meet up.
Okay, which sounds like first date ideas or blind date ideas.
But these aren't necessarily just first date ideas. Me and you could go do 3/4 of these and have a great time doing it.
Okay.
Because it's going to be getting into something that we don't normally do.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, these are ideas, not necessarily for first dates, but these are dating ideas. So these are dating ideas
that don't involve sitting at a bar. How about that?
Great. Okay.
All right.
Continue.
Taking a cooking class. You've got two people that, whether one can only make mac and cheese and one can make a gourmet meal, it's kind of fun to be able to work together to make a meal and, be not necessarily in your house doing it.
Okay.
Have an ice cream social. Go for ice cream. Get, you order what you want, I order what I want, and then you're like...
Just kidding.
Really?
Ice cream social? Really?
Yeah.
You better be putting... I hope you're putting some Kahlua in that fucking ice cream, man.
These are things... Not everybody drinks. That's what you're not understanding. Not everybody drinks, and not everybody wants to go hang out at a bar all the time.
I understand.
These are alternatives to doing that.
I agree.
I'm sorry, but if you were to come to me and say, you know what, we're gonna go to Ben and Jerry's, I'd be like, let's go.
Okay, great.
All
right. I think I sparked triggered the Driggers. Keep going. I'm sorry.
A DIY wine tasting.
Do it yourself wine tasting?
Yeah. Wine tasting at a wine shop or restaurant is super fine, but do you really retain the information that is laid out to you?
Well, you have some people. You have some places like what's that place in South Nashville that does the you can make your own beer and you make your own wine. What's that? What's that name of that place?
Something Brew, Incredibrew.
Incredibrew. The Incredibrews, I think, is an awesome idea. Well, again, that involves alcohol, so don't yell at me on this. But just to understand on how beer is making, how beer is made, how wine is made, I think that's pretty cool. All right, I'm sorry, continue.
But they also Incredibrew does root beer. They do orange sodas.
Right.
They do.
You're
so
right.
it's not necessarily just drinking.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. Keep going.
Do a 3-course meal. Do a 3-course dinner, but do it in different places. So you go out.
Oh, okay. So you go to one place and do an appetizer.
Yeah.
Leave and then go somewhere to go do a meal.
Yeah, and then go somewhere else to do a dessert.
Sounds good. I like that. So we go to Fridays for an appetizer. We go to Hooters for a meal. And then for dessert, we can go to Mark Short Place. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, my God.
Mad Mike's not here.
I know. You got to keep...
Mad Mike is not here, so I have to keep the Mad Mike liveliness going. Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go to a food festival or a street fair.
Okay. I like that. That's a wonderful idea because the seafood festival is coming up later at the end of the
Do you know I still have never been?
You've never been to the seafood festival in Hampton Beach?
No,
oh my God, it's so
I
good.
Still have never been.
So good. The food, there's food truck festivals, seafood festivals. Now, let me tell you one thing right now.
There's going to be a food truck festival here in Nashua soon.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I don't know. We can probably find out the information about that too. Now, here's the thing. If you guys want to go outrageous, okay, let me tell you about a particular place, and Aaron's going to be all over this. If money is no object, and you don't have a problem spending $100 a person to go eat, then this place is for you. However, you got to make sure that you love steak, and you got to make sure that you love lobster.
But it's not necessarily just lobster though.
No,
they've got the king crab legs.
They do.
They've got shrimp. I mean, out the wazoo. You name it. If you could cook it that way, it's cooked that way.
I guess my point is is to get your money's worth. If you're spending $100 a person,
well, friggin' crab legs are like what?
Make sure you're
$16 a friggin' pound.
No, I know that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is make sure that you're eating those particular items that are worth that $100.
We will be going again.
Prime rib.
Just saying.
Prime rib, shrimp, and the lobster. The place is called the Nordic Lounge.
The Nordic Lodge.
Lodge, excuse me.
It is in Rhode Island.
Hold on.
And I think we should get a group of people together and go. Fuck it.
That's not a bad idea. I bet you we can charter a bus and go down there, and maybe we can even do a little side swap and go to Twin River and stuff like this. So if you go to Nordic...
Casino stop.
Excuse me. The place is called Charleston, Rhode Island. As a matter of fact, the Nordic Lodge is about 15, 20 minutes away from one of our bars that we actually work in Rhode Island. Yes, we do have a bar in Rhode Island. Yes, Perfect Entertainment is all over the place. It's 178 East Pasquisant Trail, Charleston, Rhode Island. Phone number is 401-783-4515.
And don't get scared when you're going there that you're lost in some boony land, because that's what it is.
It's one of those things. If you ever been to like Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun, you're driving through farmlands and all of a sudden, then the Wizard of Oz, the
This is literally a dirt road.
City.
You go on a dirt road to get there.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it just opens up and they've got a beach and a lake, and you could spend all day there, and it's amazing. The time that you're waiting to get a table, there's things to do, especially if you have kids.
Correct.
I mean, there's definitely things to do so you don't get bored.
If you are going to bring kids there, make sure that those kids are going to eat and not just mac and cheese, because to me, I think it'd be a waste of money because, again, this place is amazing.
They have a different price for kids.
But yeah, but I think it's still like $54.99 for kids. So. I mean, but I mean, they have clams and they have